So I want to show you how I'm doing this Passat 1.8 NA engine exhaust manifold, which it isn't the greatest one, but also isn't bad because obviously it's upside down. But you can see it's a twin scroll and it keeps divided twin scroll, you know. So you have number 2 and number 3, number 1 and number 4 divided. Well, joined. Well, sorry, merge collectors. Now, the merge collectors, they seem like going, I don't know what angle that you can describe, but it's not ideal, it's not bad either. I've done my usual technique that I used to prove and show my manifolds, when you put a tissue in each port and then a tissue put in this port and you blow from any other port and that tissue will suck in, so will kind of create a Venturi effect. The merge collectors, again, this is crucial. Yeah, this is actually a crucial part of the merge collector of the exhaust manifold. They're not ideal, but you know, I've done a test with a tissue, like I said. It was questionable, I would say, but when I increased the flow, it started to work better. So my guess is alright. It's not ideal, it's not great, but it's alright. It's definitely better than most of the aftermarket Lockstyle manifolds, obviously. Even some good ones I've seen there, but this is still better, and it keeps running sort of individual. And then so what I do, obviously 2.3 into that scroll, and then these two into this scroll. Keep them divided because we're using twin scroll turbo. Now twin scroll turbo obviously is known for, you know, spooling the turbo better, quicker. This is a very good turbo, 11 centimeter housing, HX52, so this should be good. But if you see the way I'm welding the flanges, first of all, the flange has to, but usually when I used to build them, I had different flanges. Like for example, this is a T4 flange. I used to have like a massive, huge, like literally that chunk of metal, big flange that I bolt the flanges, T3 or T4, whatever that was, into it, because when you weld around, all the welds pull, because all the material goes very hard and it pulls. So if you keep it in that position where the let it cool down, it will not pull, it will stay in that position. Otherwise, if I just weld the flange to these collectors, to these pipes, call them this way, this will make like a banana, and then no gaskets will give you a hand to seal it. So, you know, that's the best way to do it. And then gas purging. So this purging the gas means I'm flowing the argon from inside the welds, and then obviously with the torch from the outside, so both sides of the welds are protected and shielded with the argon. Now I'm gonna tell you the secret of building exhaust manifolds, and they will never crack. There was a myth some time ago, I don't know if it still exists, if people are still talking crap about this, that the stainless exhaust manifolds crack because stainless is not good for using on exhaust manifold, which is complete bullshit. The best, well, you can do it in 304, which is mostly common use materials. You can do it in 316, which is what I used to use and still do, and you can use it in 321, which is even more flexible, be more moldy, but that's we don't have it so much. We don't have such a good availability in UK of a 321. In America, loads of it, but they usually has been used with a very thin wall. I prefer the 316, reasons previously explained, but the way to make the manifold that's never gonna crack, my manifolds never crack, not a single one of them, is this. You have to understand the welding process. Not obviously this is not beautiful process because I'm doing this for me and I'm overdoing this. You can be all nice like this, but then I just, you know, make it more and better and 2 passes because this really has to be strong. But the welding technique as a welding itself is one thing. So you have to push the gas, you have to, you know, keep the torch there till this is not melting anymore, this is not yellow anymore, and then wait for another about 6-8 seconds to cool it down, because the moment that weld goes grey, kind of this color, you ruined it, you know. So it's gonna be brittle, you lose the elasticity of the stainless, and this is one of the main things, is like keep the elasticity of the material. If it's gonna be brittle, then it's gonna crack, very simple. So that comes from the weld. The second thing, when you weld something, it's gonna pull. So when you assemble, this is for example a short runner, let's call it a runner, from here to here, is only 3 pieces, 1 long and 2 short ones. You know, it's not very that important, you would say, but each one of them, it will pull, let's say for example 2/10 of a mil, so we have almost half a mil of pull. So what happens when you pull it here, okay, and it's all perfect, and you weld it this way, once you weld it out, and you have to wait till this cools down, because remember, when this is nice and hot, like glowing hot, well not glowing but hot, like you can't touch it now, is expanded. So the measurement from here to here is different, the positions when you have to weld it is different. So this has to cool down, and it has to measure the temperature of the rest of the exhaust manifold, which is cold. Only then we have the proper measurement, proper sizes. Only then we can put it on and weld it, and even then it will pull a little. But that's okay, because this is the process we're doing on for each runner. This, for example, is the main runner, keeps everything in place, and then obviously the second, the third, the fourth, no matter how many cylinders you have, from 4, 5, 6, whatever. But that is the process. So the process is to welding the runners individually. You build the exhaust manifold, you use one as a to hold everything in place, and then in this instance only 2 of them. You put this one, I put it on, remove it, and weld it here. Now you say, okay, but you say it's gonna change the measurement, so once you put it here and it's perfect, you weld it up, it's gonna be not so perfect anymore. That is absolutely the truth, and this is where the trick is. The trick is to oversize it slightly. So you have to take an account for each bend, each weld you have to get. For example, I know my welds, they pull about between 1 and 2, depending on how hard you're gonna get, depending on what shadow you're gonna use, but between 1 and 2/10 of a millimeter. So, but the problem is also there's another one. It doesn't pull in the same direction. It pulls in the direction of the weld. So obviously that's gonna pull that way, that's gonna pull that way, and there's one other one over here, it will pull that way. So it is a little bit tricky, but after some time, after years doing that, you get used to it, you know exactly where it be. So when you construct the runner, it will be slightly off, because you know once you weld it, it will be correct. And obviously you can do small corrections, you know, shave it a little bit or whatever. So it's better to oversize it a tiny bit. Once it's built, you can shave it and match it, and only then weld it. I mean, it's October. What's going on? Anyway, it's good. So yeah, subframe. Well, another one of those. This is third one now. I got another one to make. Finished late last night because double time actually. Look at this. I was sending messages to Steve, was like, mate, what do you think? Should I go just single Wastegate because I'm lazy and the one will be easier, blah blah blah. And he's like, well, we both know that on twin screw, single Wastegate, yes, you can make it run, but you have to make the ports divided to the end. It's not ideal, but then you need a bigger Wastegate, because a single 44 may not be good enough. I mean, if you're running a lot of boost, then yes, but ideally sometimes I want to reduce it for like wet conditions, so I have different maps, and boost control is quite important. So it's like, well, I have two Wastegates anyway. It's like, well, fuck it, let's just do it. So I stayed late last night, and yeah, I put two individual ports for the Wastegates, so we have a proper twin screw setup. And if you're wondering why you can see the bolts through here, because this is a normal T4 flange and this is T4I. Apparently, this is what Steve says they call them. I don't know actually, but holset tool where sometimes they use these, and it's slightly wider, so the distance between this and this is identical, but the length from there to there is a few millimeters longer, like the distance there. So you have to do it this way. But if you get a nice and thick flange, that's good enough. However, I'm gonna put one will be even enough, just one washer here. You just wear it up, because now what I can do, I can slide the turbo forth and back, and with that there will be a risk if I'm not gonna fit the turbo exactly in the middle, exactly the center, so the ports will not align, because they are fairly matching. I still want to port match it exactly between the turbo and this, but they are very, very close to each other. So yeah, but you want to, you know, put it exactly there, exactly in the middle, so just to keep it in place, in a perfect place. Obviously this will have to be cut off, and I will do it even on this car, on this mock-up, because I want to build the whole turbo system, the whole everything here, and then transfer it obviously to my car, to the Frog, once the engine is built. So yeah, when the engine is going to be built, I really don't know. Well, these days I've been working, like I said, double time, so for some reason I can't sleep anymore. I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, just hover there till 4, and then I get up and I get here earlier, and then I leave here late as well. So yeah, it's one of those times when you're sleeping very little, you're working a lot, you don't understand why. Well, that's why. But that is fine, it's fine. Sometimes when you have to push it, you have to push it. What I'm going to do with it, I'm going to show you obviously once it's done, but I'm going to build one of my equal flow plenums, which is different than what Cosworth designed for the rally cars. And they've proven so far to work extremely good, raise the engine efficiency, and in the consequence spooling the turbo much quicker, because again, if the engine is more efficient, produces more gases, turbo spools, and if the engine is more efficient, low down, turbo spools quicker. So we can get big turbos like this spooling quicker than people will imagine, or like as quick as the smaller ones. The idea is to get this big boy to spool at least as quick as Steve's one, because if he spools as quick as his one, which is a size smaller, I'll be more than happy, because even for track use, even road use, plenty of power band. And so yeah, but then we're gonna have his spool with more flow, more capacity to make power on top, less restrictions on exhaust side, and more flow from the compressor. So we see. It's all talking, but then we have to prove it. You know, it's all theoretical, and then we have to see. I'm really curious to see how this exhaust manifold is going to work. I think it's decent. Again, like I said before, it's not great. If I was making one, it would be way better. Well, not way better, just better. But I can't say a percentage what the difference is going to be. That being said, I do like it. It's fine. Especially damage, if you look at that, there's never 90 degree, is always more than 90, so even this mesh is again not bad. The thread is quite shallow, well, quite aggressive as an angle. I will make them very shallow, like half of that, so this will be here, so the Venturi effect is much more amplified. But as soon as they don't face each other, you know, that's good. And none of them, this one and this one, they're not facing each other. Like this runner is not facing that one. It will have to go, because if you see that, it will have to go from that direction to be facing a 90 degree. Even then, not horrible, but it starts to get bad. This is between bad and optimal, so it's okay. Let's call it is okay. I'm not trying to justify my quick choices of being cheap and quick, but this is realistically okay. Hey, it's still, you know, 1,000 pounds better than the original one and the small ones, so be all right. Anyways, let's finish the subframe. I think it's what's the time now? It's 7 o'clock. So yeah, this one will be finished in about an hour, and we're gonna machine a couple of bits, and we get to the next one. See you soon. Another subframe in the making, but end of the day today, and we're off. Gonna continue tomorrow. However, well, I want it finished. and I've done a bit more progress on that one as well, slightly. I want to show you. So the turbo is actually in position because obviously the manifold is done. So yeah, this is it. This is right there, and obviously we've got enough space for the shifter linkage there, for the water pipes, for the breather on this side, so it clears nicely. Also, I'm gonna shave on mine this one because we use these, well, this one of these supports for the charge cooler, but I don't ruin the charge cooler, so I don't need that. I'm gonna shave it off. I'm gonna make more space for the intake pipe, although it will clear with it anyway, but it's, you know, let me put this nicely. It's a bit off. Come on, buddy. There you go. So you see, nice and straight, it clears. But if I remove it, this will get a tiny bit shallow over corner. Nice shallow over there. Obviously go to this side, and it's gonna go to the big giant air filter. Induction obviously completely cold, separated from the engine bay and engine heat soak. So yeah, this happy with this. Fairly close on the top of the gearbox. Again, linkage is here or happening here, but away from this, safe distance, and a lot of access anyway to all of this stuff from behind, from the front, to work on it. Water parts, plugs, wiring room, you know, again, shifter linkage and adapter, it's all there. That one is going to be a little bit tight, but that one, you know, what's in there, it never has to be moved. Once you bolted it, that's it. Adjustments is actually on top here and actually here, not there. So that's more than fine. I want to put some heat wrap on the exhaust because I want to keep the heat separated from the gearbox, because well, the gearbox is actually here, that is a diff, but still same oil. So let's keep that heat away. Actually, I want to put the temperature sensor on the gearbox in the bottom somewhere for the oil, because I'm really curious how hot they go in the truck. So, and again, that's one of the beauty of running standalone ECU, because you can have it all monitored by the ECU, so that's good. Hey, yeah, as you can see, the exhaust is mocked up. This is how it's gonna be. I've got the Wastegate there. The exhaust goes around this one here. Again, bit of a heat wrap and, you know, heat management because it's close, but no problems. I've seen them being closer, but obviously this is the cold side. Kind of cold side. This is all steaming hot, but it's colder than this, so you kind of want to ventilate it, but the exhaust this is going to be wrapped. It's amazing how much a good heat wrap can do for the, you know, for the heat insulation. So that's going to be enough. Obviously that had to be chopped off. Now my engine moves very little because with the new nearly solid engine mounts, it's very little movement, so even that will be good. You can see the difference between, you know, how tiny is 3-inch compared to the 4-inch. There you go. Or from here, for example, there you go. That's 4-inch, that's 3-inch. It's a huge difference. However, do you remember what I said? The turbo needs bracing, because you can't leave the turbo just hanging on the exhaust manifold, especially when it's kind of like far away from it. Well, it's not only the exhaust manifold, it's not only the turbo, it's not only the wastegates, but also the rest of the exhaust. Of course, you have the flexi head to remove all the vibrations and all the stuff, and the exhaust is supported on its own on these things. The beauty is this: we're still using the standard exhaust mounting points, one here and one here, because it's just, look at it, it's just beautiful, just standing here. Doesn't matter for the lambda sensor. I'm gonna put another lambda sensor somewhere here for mapping, because, you know, if you put it inside there instead of like the usual clamp, as a better reading, and it stops falling off. But yeah, all this weight will have to be supported, not all of it, but partially, from the exhaust manifold. So obviously, clearly can understand that's not a good idea. So no matter how strong it is, don't do it. Turbo needs bracing. you know, because all of this is in movement. It moves, cornering, you know, potholes up and down, left and right, vibrations, you know, a lot of stress. So if you take care of this straight away, this will be forever, never gonna give you any issues. I'm not gonna weld it up yet, although I'm tempted, because I know this is the final product. Well, product, it's not a product, it's just one-off, custom made, but I'm happy with this. Now, could I have gone simpler? Yes, I could have gone simpler. Let me explain. I could go from that turbo there, tiny bit on the outside, so very shallow bend, maybe 10-15 degree, and go down and go very simple this way into the silencer. Silencer obviously shift a bit more that way, and they go exit on this side here. So, you know, and out, very simple. And for performance, it will be even slightly better, no big difference, but slightly better. However, this is 4-inch, the turbo is big, the turbine is not small. This starts to get loud. You know, I don't want it too loud, because then circuit use, you know, restrictions on the noise. I don't want to put another silencer for it. And the beauty when you do the exhaust systems is that each elbow works like a silencer. It gets everything quieter. So because they are not very, you know, very tight elbows, there is almost no restriction on the flow. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5, because this is 190 and it's going to be another 45 degrees to get out the bumper. Yeah, they work like a silencer. I'm trying to keep it quieter now, because usually you're trying to make it noisier because, you know, you want to hit the engine. But at this point, we have to start to manage the noise output. So that's why I've done this way. Yeah, plus kind of like it, I guess, I think. Yeah, I do. Another subframe, almost done. This is slightly different. That one there has a laser etched logo. This one is carried through. Mistake by the laser company, but I don't mind that too, so yeah, it's fine. On the other note, the exhaust system is actually welded up, because yeah, I made my mind. I want it. I want it exactly the same, well, as it was. So yeah, welded up, done. Obviously, I had to. And MRS-500. MRS-500, it was, well, this is supposed to be always the MRS-500. This spec turns out it's not going to be an MRS-500 anymore, because it's probably going to make more power. However, because we're going to run multiple maps, there's definitely going to be a map for 500 brakes, kind of like, I think, track use, like the more useful map, I would say, from what I had with the VR5 turbo. I was running just over 500 brakes. I think 500 would be like a, yeah, very sweet spot, very aggressive, you know, for track use. Then something way less for wet, and then we're gonna have another map which is full sand, whatever the engine is gonna make before that. So we'll see. But yeah, finally I took some time and done my system, exhaust system, a little bit better, because usually I rush with my stuff because I never have the time. But this time it's like, no, I want to do it without rushing. I want to do it nicely, as I will do for the customer. The tailpipe isn't finished yet because I need another part, another bit, and I have to shave this tiny bit more to get it fitted properly. And also I think I'm gonna run the breather system inside the exhaust. So there is a way to put like a tubes inside the tailpipe to generate a venturi effect, a lower pressure, kind of like suction, if you want to call it this way, for the breather system. So it helps the engine from breathing, from the crankcase breathe. Yeah, it's quite actually a common thing to do. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Usually people put, you know, oil separator tanks, breather tanks, all this stuff. I know, straight into the exhaust. Usually I do it atmospheric, but if it's higher performance, this we're gonna push it. then yeah, into the exhaust. Help that crankcase to, you know, release the pressure, actually, you know, try and generate even maybe negative pressure if we could. That would be good. That would be very beneficial for piston rings and all that stuff. Anyways, that's it really for now. Exhaust system, exhaust manifold is done, turbo is in place. Wastegate are there. There are 2 changes gates which I just had there because that's what I do usually. I don't all this stuff or just wait. If I have to build something, it is now, so I use what's available. So these gates, to be fair, they proven to be working fine. I'll find them very kind of not tricky, but if they don't work, you know straight away, and if they work straight away, they'll be there for fine for years. We had some genuine ones giving more problems than the Chinese ones, so it's yeah, don't know. we'll see. The beauty is, if it doesn't work, it's probably what, 100 quid instead of 500. It's fine. It's fine. Holset, never gonna give up. These big turbos, they work good on the lorries. They're super strong, so you can throw water, methanol, nitrous before the turbo. They can chew everything. They probably chew small kids as well if you're not careful. So yeah, that's it for now. I think next week, if the plenum will arrive, I'm gonna start taking some measurements, try and design the plenum equal flow, because that actually is gonna make the engine working more efficient, and that's where the spool comes from, because like I say, I want to make this turbo to spool at least as quick as the smaller one that Stevie is using. So we'll see. Anyways, Saturday enough, I shouldn't be here, but I'm here because again I'm behind. So both subframes nearly finished. That one is completely done. It's been done for some time now. This one I've just finished now. This one here goes to US. Someone who's building VR6 turbo one, and so he's having the engine mounts and a subframe, and I think something else. I can't remember, to be fair. Then these are nearly finished. Well, no, they are finished. Just waiting for the rest of the stuff. Supposed to be in a kit, and they heading out as well next week. Yeah, all right. See you soon.